The year is 2027. And someone asks you, what's your favorite Star Wars trilogy? Is it the original trilogy? Is it the prequel trilogy? The sequel trilogy? Or the Untitled Star Wars trilogy? That one is the question. Welcome back, everybody. This is the Resistance Broadcast. How you guys doing? I'm John Hoey. We are going to get into just that today. The Untitled Star Wars trilogy that has been announced because there was no Star Wars news. So they're like, you know what? Here's 3 movies that are going to come out in 3 years from now, and there's nothing we're going to give you about it. They're actually literally labeled Untitled. So, and here we are just like piranhas, just going to tear into this thing today and on Thursday. So doing that with me, as always, taking the ride down Speculation Nation all week is James and Lacey. Guys, welcome back. Are you excited about these 3 movies we know absolutely nothing about?
I am excited, but I think the funniest thing coming out of these announcements is everybody going, oh my God, I'm going to be blank years old when it's like pretty much everybody being like, oh my God, I'm going to be, and my son's going to be, and I oh my God, like there's like picturing everybody's mortality. It's so funny. Yeah. Like how old it's good. Lacey, how old are you going to be when that third movie drops?
A lady never reveals her age.
No,
but you know what I realized from Twitter?
Val's going to be 21.
Everyone thinks that they're going to die at 30, apparently, which I was unaware of was the death age.
Really?
Everybody on Twitter was like, oh, I'm going to be 30. I was like, oh, that's nice. It's glorious.
27 is the famous club death age, right?
The rock stars.
27 club? 27 club?
Yeah, the rock stars who died at 27.
What?
Yeah, there's a bunch of rock stars over time who all died at 27.
Don't we have a poll?
Look it up. Look it up.
Yeah, so our poll this week is, out of all the rock stars who died at age 27, which one was the best? And the answer is
me. Oh wait.
Kurt Cobain is probably the answer to that.
I died 5 years ago.
So you're not 32. Don't even pretend.
6 years ago.
All right, guys. So yeah, we are going to talk about the announcement about those movies, but we are going to do most of our speculation on them on Thursday. But we do have a great show for you guys here today. Obviously, as Lacey just said, we're going to get into our poll results. We have some news to fire up and a little bit of a rundown. And of course, some of your questions that we'll hop into later. So welcome to the Resistance Base, everybody, especially all you new people.
Sounds like a normal show.
Yeah, a lot of new people, I'm telling you, who have just popped in or heard about us. So welcome to the Resistance Broadcast. It's a good time. And welcome to the base. The base is open for all of you guys. All right, so our poll results this week. Let's get after them right now. All right, we said, since the Star Wars prequels told the backstories of several characters, the desire for backstories seems more prevalent now than ever for stories going forward, or characters, I should say. So we asked you, do you prefer to have Star Wars characters' backstories? And we gave you the options. Yes, we need those origin stories. Where did Yoda go to high school? Or no, not that important. We do not care who Joseph A. Snoke's sweetheart was back in the day. So this was our closest poll ever without being a tie. Obviously, math isn't that hard when you look at this. 51% said yes, we need origin stories, and 49% said no. So pretty much split down the middle in terms of origin stories. I was surprised by this. I actually thought no would win decidedly because I think people are tired of the where did Snoke come from argument. So that was where I was coming from with that. James, Lacey, were you shocked at this being split right down the middle? The people have taken a side and they're all either on the one side or the other, equal portions.
That's how it works.
That's how it works.
Flawed question, John.
Yeah.
Flawed question.
What?
This is why your question is flawed.
Here we go.
Because the first result is yes, need origin story. And anybody who likes origin stories will always say, well, we don't need them, Like, of course we don't need them.
Did you not see X-Men
But-
Origins Wolverine?
We
'Cause-
we want them. That's why
This is such a James Bainey answer.
It really
it's
is.
because I looked at the thing and it was like, do you need to know what blah 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 happened to him back in the day? No, you don't, but I want to. So it's like my answer is kind of like it forces me to kind of put that no. I did put yes because I know what you mean. I do want origin stories, but come on, need implies your own agenda, John, of like, I don't need to know where Yoda went to high school. So I'm going to put, do we really need origin stories? Yes, we really need origin stories. That's one of the options I'm going to write down. And the other one is no, of course, it's not that important. Big deal, whatever. That's I can see John's agenda. What do you think, Lacey?
I'm just picturing the Wii menu playing right now.
Which one? That's We Shop.
Whatever.
The one that I was picturing in my head. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
Is he done?
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun.
Holy
Don't
cow.
be rude. James, I understand where you're coming from, but my answer is no, because I don't care where Yoda went to high school, and I don't care if Snoke had a girlfriend, and I don't care about any of that.
Right. Well,
Do I want it?
bullcrap.
No. Do I need it? No.
do you know who else doesn't
No.
care about that? And that is Brian Bond at BG Bond. So I guess his middle name starts with a G. What do you think?
Hi, Brian.
What do you think Brian's middle name is? I say Gerald.
Gouda.
Gouda. His parents are big cheese fans. James?
It's Gouda.
Gashed in the back by John's knife.
Jeez Louise, this got dark real quick. Well,
This is
Brian.
going to be a feisty episodes, guys. Get ready.
Brian agrees with Lacey, saying, I voted no, but that doesn't mean I'm totally against backstories. I don't need every single detail of... Can I read? Can I read? Don't interrupt Brian, because now I'm being Brian, and you're interrupting
Not
Brian.
overlaying.
I don't need every single detail of every
Mom,
single
come pick
character's
me up,
backstory because sometimes it's best not to know. Also, I prefer when Star Wars pushes forward with new characters instead of looking back on old ones. So that I kind of like. So it looks like Brian's ready for the future of Star Wars. He's all set with the Skywalkers and the characters we know. He's ready for the new stuff, which might be that Untitled series of films coming out in a few years. And speaking of those, let's get the skinny on that right now by heading back over to James Bainey for this week's Resistance Report. What's up, James?
It's the Resistance.
All right, guys. There's not a whole lot of news this week. Most of it comes from Reddit. A leak or a rumor is going around. Oh, wait, sorry. Nope. This was released from Disney officially. That's right. Yeah. They came out this week and because I say that because the source on the article was Disney. Like Disney said it. So shut your mouth if you don't believe our source. Yeah, I just thought that was kind of funny. But no.
What is happening?
Disney came out this last week, and they said, "Hey, here's our slate." And it was bigger news too because it has a lot to do with Fox and a lot of movies that are getting canceled or reslated, pushed back, all that stuff. I mean, Avatar's in there, but we're not an Avatar podcast, so we're not going to talk about that. We skimmed this list and we thought, boring, yeah, whatever. What? Untitled Star Wars movie in December of 2022, Untitled Star Wars movie December 2024, Untitled Star Wars movie December 2026. Lacey, I got a good question for you on the next story to start this off. So this one is getting led by John. What's the big deal, right? Whatever.
Yes.
Star Wars movies, who cares, right? What were your thoughts on this?
My thoughts were, wow, that's far away. And then my thoughts were, in 2002, that's not far away because it was like, oh, 3 years of Star Wars movie. That's what they always do. So I tweeted about that. I was like, 2002, the next Star Wars movie comes out in 3 years. Oh, that's normal. 2019, the next Star Wars movie comes out in 3 years. Why? Oh my God, it's over. It's so far away. And it just shows that we've been smacked in the face with so much Star Wars content since 2015 that we're now conditioned to keep getting it. It's going to be tough for people to wait that long. And I think the hero of the day is going to be our friend called the Disney Streaming Plus service, Disney Plus. With The Mandalorian, Cassian Andor, the Kenobi series, whenever that happens, and hopefully Solo 2, maybe via a series would be cool. But there's not much to go on here, so I'm going to save a lot of my speculation on this for Thursday when we just go crazy on our thoughts on what this might be, who it may be by, and that sort of thing. But it's always cool to see concrete dates of here comes Star Wars. It's coming back at this time. But the most important part is that we're going back to Christmas time. And it looks like they're doing that permanently. So I think they're learning from the mistakes of how they marketed Solo and released Solo and that sort of thing. And they're going back to what worked. And that makes me very happy, especially for the holiday season.
Lacey, you wrote the survival guide on how to live through celebration. I need you to send me the survival guide on how to live for 2020, 2021, and all the way through 2022 until this next movie, because we're all going to die, right? Without our Star Wars fix.
I'm pretty sure this episode's going to be called The Rise of James Baney, because this has been the most bizarre actions from James Baney ever. My answer is that, like John said, I think we're going to get stuff that happens on the streaming service, and we're going to get books and comics and other media from Disney that it's not going to matter that there's a break. And I think the break will allow for people to have not take Star Wars for granted. I also think that this is going to play into the rumors that I've heard about Star Wars Celebration, which it's going to be every other year. So if that's the case, then Star Wars will happen in 2020, 2022, 2024, and 2026, which is what I've heard.
Celebration will.
Star Wars Celebration will, which makes sense.
So we're getting one in
because
2020 and then every other year in support of the movies. Yeah, you kind of twisted words. It was kind of confusing.
Yes, exactly. So that fits that rumor that I heard. So this kind of solidifies that. I think that they're going to switch off every other year with D23. So how are you going to survive? I don't know. Get a hobby? I don't know.
So
what?
Yeah. I don't know. Do you think that what's the holdup? Like, John, what do you think? Why do you think they're waiting that long? Do you think it is simply just to reestablish themselves? Do you think there's a possibility that we'll be getting content like The Mandalorian and Cassian Andor, and that will be filling us up and going
objection,
like the average
beating
fan
the witness.
might say, like the average fan might say, I forgot that we're getting more Star Wars now. Because they're thinking that's the new Star Wars content?
No, I think movies from a Star Wars perspective are always best when it's cherished. And I think they understand that now, that their rumored plans of we're going to do one a year, potentially 2 a year, they realize that doesn't work for Galaxy Far, Far Away. It may work for other franchises, as we've seen. Because like with those Marvel movies, you can watch this character's movies, but still get this. Where with Star Wars, I think they like the level of connectivity, at least to this point. So that, and also I think the domino effect from what happened with Solo in the box office. In my report, I was told that they were about to greenlight Kenobi and announce Kenobi, and that's why Ewan McGregor was at the Solo premiere, and we talked about this. And then once Solo had the reeling box office, they pulled that back, and they're reworking that for a series, as I've been told. So I think that is a big part of it. And then it makes me think all anthology-based stuff going forward, whether it's about characters we already know, whether it be Kenobi, maybe it's a Solo follow-up, maybe a Boba Fett thing, they're going to make that live on the streaming service, which brings up that hiatus. Because they've talked about the Boba Fett film too was a rumored thing that was supposed to happen as well. So it looks like they're going for big impact stories, new stories with the movies. It's going to take a while to finish writing those, producing those, creating those. So it makes sense that production for those are going to start within the next year for the first one to release in 2022. So I think it's all those things put together. I don't think it's anything other than that. So I think it's from a production perspective and a results perspective more than anything.
Yeah, Lacey, anything before we move on to the next story?
No, that's a very technical answer. I don't think I have anything to add.
Well, technically,
Makes a lot of sense.
The reason we're kind of avoiding some of the deeper discussion is because we are going to be talking about this on Thursday.
That's when we could just put the tinfoil hats on.
Yeah, we can talk about who's directing, what stories, all that stuff.
I think it's Ryan Johnson. I think it's Benioff and Wise. Well, I think it's this. All that crazy stuff.
I think it's JJ. He's coming back.
I think Kathleen Kennedy cloned herself.
I think George
What is this
Lucas.
voice?
I don't know yet. We'll find out Thursday who it was.
Yeah, maybe.
What is happening?
So that's all there really is to talk about, because it really is just Untitled. Although we did release the T-shirt, Untitled Star Wars movie. Get them now. No, I'm just kidding. We didn't do that. But we have we Lacey is losing her mind. All right. Yeah, you are. We also had a recent it's called Star Wars Holiday, May the 4th. Recently passed, and we got a lot of cool announcements because they basically laid out the entire journey to the Rise of Skywalker book collection, if you will. There was a lot of stuff that they announced. I think so, more so than they ever have in the past. There was a book called Force Collector about a kid who takes place before The Force Awakens, and he's going around collecting old artifacts. There's Star Wars Resistance Reborn. This is immediately after the events of 8, and it's about Leia and the rest of the crew rebuilding the Resistance. We have another book, Spark of the Resistance, that involves Finn and Rey and Poe answering a distress call.
These sounds like all the rejected fan titles for Episode 9.
Yeah, exactly.
The spark
Star
of
Wars Allegiance, yes. Spark of Resistance, Spark of the Dark. We got the Allegiance book, which actually is a comic series about Leia going and visiting the Mon Cala, getting more ships, building that up. Tons of stuff on just the rise of Skywalker, as far as those classic, what do they call them? Visual guides, visual dictionaries, the official guides that go with the making of, and all sorts of stuff. But Lacey, since I'm starting with you, I got to ask you about the big one, the one that everybody was talking about, which is the Rise of Skywalker Art of book that's coming out. Mm-hmm. And it has a wonderful picture of Rey and Kylo Ren on the front. Well, actually, Rey is fishing for Kylo Ren's.
It looks like she's fishing.
She's fishing. She caught one. And so what do you think of this? What do you think of the art? Where do you think this is going? Do you think it has anything to do with the movie at all?
Yes, it's the official art book. What? Of course it has to do with the movie. It's all the concept and art that they had coming into the movie. I think it's super exciting. I'm super pumped for it. I have all the other art books, so I would love to add this to my collection. I think people went nuts about it because naturally anything with Kylo and Rey on it tends to go bonkers on the internet. So this is no exception. I think that, there are a lot of rumors of different types of fights happening, which I won't get into for other people that don't want spoilers, in the Rise of Skywalker. So I think this kind of gave a little bit of weight to those rumors.
Like the Knights of Ren showing up on Octo?
No. No. But it's just super exciting because the first book, the Art of Force Awakens had Kylo on it, and then the Art of The Last Jedi had Rey on it, and then the last book has both of them on it. So that's kind of cool, and it kind of shows that the story is about them. Whether we know in what way, we'll find out with Episode 9, but I'm I just love these books. They give so many details. And as we've seen leading up to, or right after the trailer, when people started digging into the art books from The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, there are hints to the Rise of Skywalker in these other two books. So I can only imagine what we'll end up seeing in the art of the Rise of Skywalker. I would love to see how Palpatine works into all of this and what early drawings made sense, so that there's a little proof to that he's always been part of the plan. I think we talked about that a little bit, where we were like, was he a part of the plan, or are they just kind of saying that now? So I would love to see if that's the case, but that is the number one book that I'm excited for. I have all the other ones. I have Rogue One and everything. So yeah, I'm super pumped. And Phil does a great job doing those books.
Yeah. So, John, let me ask you, is Art of Rise of Skywalker the book that you're interested in, or is there another one that really stuck out to you?
Well, that was the one where I was like, gotta crop this picture, gotta tweet it out, gotta be the first one to get it out there, blah, 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 gotta beat these people. And I did pretty good. I got it out there for an old caveman myself. Even the president...
I did it before you.
Yeah, but the president didn't quote tweet you. He quote tweeted me. So, eat it. No, I think that is the one. I'm a big fan of the stylistic things in the art, and Phil Shostak's approach to things, and how he explains them after the movies come out, and why this was that and this was used, and I like that sort of thing. He's kind of like the new Rinsler almost, in a sense. So
he also shows stuff that doesn't make it into the book,
right?
Which I always like,
right? And if me looking at this cover, I'm like, that could be the poster of the movie, and it'd be perfect because it doesn't look like the Photoshop. I haven't liked the new theatrical posters of these movies, the recent movies. But one thing I did see that kind of caught my eye when they were showcasing this, they said these are going to sprinkle in hints about Episode 9 without giving too much away, of course. But the Resistance Reborn, you got all your heroes on there, but the biggest face is Poe Dameron. I thought that's so cool.
That caught me off guard.
Poe keeps getting backhanded by everybody. I don't know why, but they want to kill this guy. They want to cast him aside. And there he is. He's like, no, he's the guy. And I think that is really showing you that Episode 9... Poe is going to be a big part of this story. I think more than people think, and they may even hide him a little bit in the trailers and that sort of thing, to keep the focus on Rey and Kylo Ren, who are of course the two real focal points. But I really
money bringers.
I think Oscar Isaac is going to just surprise some people in Episode 9, and I'm happy to hear that, because I think Poe definitely needs his time in this trilogy.
Poe is the skipper of the Jungle Cruise.
Yes, yeah, he definitely has the gear. He's ready for the mummy adventure, like Brendan Fraser.
If you guys are patrons of the show, then you saw that I did a full breakdown and what I thought of all this stuff. As a quick overview, I am interested probably mostly in that Resistance Reborn, just because it seems like it's the most like story driven, but don't sleep on Force Collector. I think that could be the hidden gem. I think that could be the one that people are like, I was surprised at how good that ended up being. I think just because there's no focus on the main story and it's like a side thing, but however it connects could be really cool. This character, whoever he is, could inevitably be important because, he answered some long lost question that we had that they don't have time to answer in the movie,
Yeah.
They're like, we can't really address that, and we might get some backlash for it, but we can't answer every question. Let's put a couple of these books out that kind of knock that stuff down. Like, for instance, I think one of the books talks about how they're going to build their army back up. Mm-hmm. Like, we don't have time to get into that in the movie. All you got to know is when you walk into Episode 9, we built it back up over the last like 3 or 5 years or whatever it is. So,
and one thing I want to kind of touch on a little bit, because I know I annoyed him about this, but it's kind of what I do sometimes. So Matt Martin had tweeted about how these books are going to kind of tell the better part of a year in the Star Wars galaxy after, The Last Jedi, or whatever, however he put it. And I said, is that kind of confirming that it's a year time jump between the two movies? And he's like, no, these books are just telling that period of time. And then I started thinking, I'm like, okay, well, they're not going to release these books and tell us things that happen after Episode 9. So then can't we at least assume that we're at least a year after The Last Jedi then?
I think it is a year later, and that was his quick answer to tell you no, so that you didn't know.
Oh.
A year doesn't seem like... Yeah, I don't know.
Like, I adore Matt. I think he's
time.
great, but I feel like I've been in that position too, doing social media for different brands, that if someone picks up on something that you weren't ready to announce or you didn't want to say, you give this kind of like non-answer. You're like, oh yeah, well, these books take place during that time, but I haven't confirmed anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of think that if given the opportunity, if somebody says, hey, is the time between the movie kind of an arbitrary number, JJ? He's like, yeah, whatever. I just kind of pictured it like a year later. And there's like, is there any way we could make it 3 years? Because just for the sake of having a long time to tell tons and tons of stories of the things that happened between those 3 years.
I feel like it's 1 year.
I don't. Maybe, but I feel like why make it 1 year when you have like an entire franchise and basically like this whole thing to run off of?
I kind of agree with you, James, only
gaps.
because you almost always forget the time gaps between 4, 5, and 6 because no one cared. Like, if you watch The Empire Strikes Back, you don't know whether that happened a month later or 3 years later. And it really is not that big of a deal until you start introducing the in-between stories and the books and all the other stuff.
Yeah, like Resistance, like it can't just happen before Force Awakens.
Yeah.
It now has to happen incongruent with Force Awakens and Last Jedi.
And the only reason I think we all agreed here that they are going to do a jump is because of 7 and 8 being a day later, and we don't want this trilogy happening over a weekend. We need to
even the fact that those movies are back to back like that is nuts.
Best weekend ever. TFA Friday, TLJ Saturday, and episode 9 Sunday. And also you want the characters to you want JJ to be able to cheat and let the characters have more time together that they can lead up to. Be like, oh, so now they're buddies and now they're doing this and now Rey knows this because she read the books. Like, it gives him more to work with if he gets the time jump too. I'm not as worried about having a time period to fill in with comics and cartoons and all that stuff. Sorry, animated. I'm more worried about JJ being able to tell the best story he can, and by giving a gap there where he can say, this person went here, this person learned this, Poe became a better leader because of this, because they had that time. I like that.
I wonder if they'll make it 5 years like Avengers.
I'm thinking odd number years for sure. 1, 3, 5 would be my picks, and I lean in the middle.
We get in the theater, they're like 4 years late. James is like,
dang it. I'm so mad
because I think that should be one of our questions if we don't find out before the movie how many years has it been.
I think we will. I think in marketing for the movie, it's 3 years after The Last Jedi. You know what I mean? I think they're gonna set that stage.
What if they say in the crawl?
They didn't for Avengers because it's kind of a spoiler. Which is why they also had to hide it from the...
Imagine the crawl opens up...
Far From Home trailer.
It's been 3 years since the death of Luke Skywalker.
The events of whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Luke Skywalker's been gone for 3 years, and we're just like, oh, man.
They already did the Luke Skywalker has vanished.
Yeah, you gotta...
I don't think they'd do it again.
Bring it home, baby. Bookend.
Bring it home, bookend. Speaking of books.
Speaking of books.
Hey, I just got to throw
Speaking
this in
of
there. The reason I was setting up Lacey at the beginning, do you think that this cover has anything to do with the movie? Is because I don't. I think that you see the book of The Force Awakens, The Art of Force Awakens, and it's a scene which was, yes, Kylo was in the cold, but it was a deleted scene. It never made it in the movie. It was more like
in the
an
trailer.
idea. I know it was in the trailer, but it wasn't in the movie. Like I'm saying, it was a concept that was really cool that they used, but they didn't end up using. The same thing with Rey walking around on Octo and the Falcons in the background. Yes, that's what's going on. That's there, but it's not a scene from the movie. It only kind of gives you a feel of what that place was like at that time and how the characters were involving. And looking at this image, I'm like, this is weird. This is definitely art. This is not a photo from the movie. I don't see a scene where they're stabbing through the water or anything like that, but it kind of maybe the planet or something or some
It
idea
depends if you're reading the spoiler /
through
leaks
the
or
force
not.
or something. I don't know.
Well, also, if we want to...
Here's my thought. This scene will not be in the movie. There will be a final battle. It may be on a red planet, but I'm telling you, there's not going to be this Inception / scene. It will not happen.
If it happens, I get to pie you in the face.
Holy cow.
What is with the pies? I didn't even get to pie you in the face from the last time I won the contest.
Yeah, we're doing that when this movie comes out, and that scene doesn't
We're doing
happen.
it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the facts that we do know, though. So the movie is done filming, and reshoots may be wrapping up, and they're doing editing now. So we don't know what's in the movie, and neither do the people who created the cover of this book. So by that argument, it's possible that something of this ilk was filmed, a sequence was filmed, and it doesn't end up in the final product. It ends up in a deleted scene. That's possible. It's also possible a bunch of leaks and rumors out there are not accurate. It's also possible they are. It's also possible Disney's putting leaks out there to throw people off, because we've seen that happened. The person at ESPN got fired because he leaked something that they purposely put out to catch leakers. So
Or people saw this cover.
There's a lot.
Or they saw other images.
Or they saw, maybe Lacey, they
that
saw the cover first and they're trying to make assumptions. That's true. That's true. So there's a lot that could be going on here. And, a rumor came out today from a reputable YouTube person saying Rian Johnson's movies are canned. And a lot of people are saying that's not true. So there's so much going on. I do rumor reviews on our Patreon page to try to help out with that. But I just try to...
Just $2 a month. You can.
I try to keep a level head about it and leave it for us to speculate and have fun with, but I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, this is this because it's on the cover, or vice versa, say it isn't. It's just, the movie's being edited now, so we don't know what's going to be in the final product. And honestly, J.J. Abrams may not know yet. He may at the last second be like, that scene doesn't work, gone. Let's go back and reshoot this. A test audience didn't like this. There's a lot that could happen in the next 7 months.
All I'm saying is that they chose that picture specifically because it represents what they think the concepts of the movies are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
Because those exact shots weren't in the movie, but there are very similar shots to those movies on those books.
Yep.
The one where Rey's walking across the field. Yeah, she doesn't have the lightsaber, but she's still walking across the field.
It's one of the concepts from the movie that is definitely not going to get cut. Kylo Ren will definitely be on Starkiller. Rey will definitely be on Octo walking around, and the Falcon will be there. We already know that. There's no way to cut that. Yeah. But it's not a scene.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's like there could be a
Agree
final
to disagree,
battle,
James.
All right, that's fine. This is what we do. We just put it out there.
Yep.
Universe.
Yep.
All right, guys, that's it. I think Scoundrel's Rundown is up next. We got a couple things we want to talk about, so I'm going to send it over to the Scoundrel on hand, the one we ended up with him. I don't know how, but he's with us, so we got to give him a segment. So we gave him Scoundrel's Rundown.
Jesus, what an intro!
The rise of James Baney.
I feel like you two. I feel like you two are the scoundrels, and I'm the sweetheart today. We flipped the script. All right, so let's do this thing right here by saying 3, 2, 1, punch it!
Punch it!
Okay, guys. Before I get into any news here, I just want to say that 10 days, I believe, from today. Yep. 10 days from today, we are doing Make Solo 2 Happen Day, all across all of your social media platforms and over at Star Wars News Net. What we're just trying to do simply, as fans, we want to make Solo 2 happen, whether that's a movie or a series. So we are asking you guys to join us by hitting your Facebook accounts, Twitter accounts, Instagram, wherever you are, using hashtag Make Solo 2 Happen. We want to try to get that thing going viral to get as many eyes on that, including people who may work for Disney. or Lucasfilm. So just join us on May 23rd for hashtag Make Solo 2 Happen. If you have a Han Solo shirt, Chewbacca stuff, Lando stuff, Kira stuff, Enfys Nest stuff, Solo, a Star Wars story stuff, whatever, take a picture, tweet it out, use the hashtag, and let's try to get that movement going as much as we can. So thank you guys for joining us on that mission. Now, guys, we also have Duel of the Fates is a fan fiction book written by Pete Fletzer. Lacey was just on his podcast, I believe, right, Lacey?
I was.
That's right. So shout out to Pete. Our own Kyle Larson, Star Wars Newsnet, reviewed Pete's book for him, and that's over at StarWarsNewsNet.com. It's called Duel of the Fates. It's his own fan fiction. It's not affiliated with Disney or Lucasfilm, but it's his take on the events as he would have thought them to have happened before The Phantom Menace. So good job there, Pete, and thanks, Kyle, for reviewing that for us.
Fledgens.
What's that?
I like to call it Fledgens. It's fan legends.
You are a wild man, Baney. He's
a banana today.
Man. All right, guys, the last thing, John Williams, you may have heard of him. He is an upstart musician in the Star Wars family.
Indie musician.
He's an indie musician. He
follow him on not Pure Volume, SoundCloud.
Yes, follow him on SoundCloud for sure. His theme for Galaxy's Edge is now available for purchase and download. We've heard snippets of that in the trailers and the commercials and the teasers for Galaxy's Edge. Now the track is available for download right now. So one of his last entries into Star Wars besides the upcoming score for Star Wars Episode 9 later this year. So guys, that is it for the Scoundrels Rundown. Hashtag Make Solo 2 Happen. Hashtag you guys are awesome. Hashtag Jacked Fish. And right now we're going to send it over to Lacey to get to your questions in another hashtag called Ask the Resistance. Lacey, what do we got this week?
Are you going to ask Chewie to get us out of here?
Chewie. Sorry. Get us out of here.
Chewie, wake
up! All right, guys, it's time for Ask the Resistance.
I've been wondering, what are midichlorians?
You guys have Star Wars questions. Hopefully we have some pretty good Star Wars answers. We've got some questions to go through, starting with Good Morning Mose Eisley at Mose Eisley Pod. I'm assuming that's a podcast. Hello. And they ask, do you think Chewie will survive the Rise of Skywalker? I've had a sneaking suspicion his character may not make it. So ladies first. Guys, I'm going to be honest with you for a second. I've been making this joke for a while now. It is purely a joke. I do it to get a rise out of John. I don't honestly think Chewbacca's going to die. First of all, Peter just passed away, which is heartbreaking. So they're not going to, I would hope they weren't going to kill him. But not only that, not only that, he's a guy in a suit, so you can put anybody in that suit. It's Jonas right now. He's wonderful. He's fabulous. We love him. I got to share that video, guys, of you watching him on stage because it is fabulous. But they're not going to kill someone off that they could just put anybody into a suit. It's just silly. Plus, he's one of those things that doesn't age. He's evergreen. So they're not going to kill him off. They need some of those original characters that everybody sees that immediately think Star Wars. Just like R2-D2 and C-3PO. They're never going to get rid of those characters either. So I hope that answers your question. I hope everyone knows that I'm joking. Awesome. Next. Matt. Oh, is this the one that you told me that? Matt Boitner.
Boitner.
All right. Matt.
Not
Boatner. Hey, Lacey.
Probably.
Boitner. Yeah.
Does that mean you're not going to make the Chewie's dying joke anymore?
Nope.
Damn it.
Because we all know. We all know what she really thinks.
First time asking, first time listening. Hello, Matt.
I don't believe
you're after my own
Hey.
heart. I said something like that a long time ago. He asks, are y'all happy about the more reserved release schedule of films or sad to be missing out on the original every year we get another Star Wars approach? Oh. James, what do you think? You gonna miss some Star Wars movies? You gonna want a Marvel planet or not?
Yeah. Actually, I think that there's probably some truth in the fact that it's a better decision to space it out, but not me. I'm bummed. I wish that we could get a Star Wars movie every year, and I'd be fine with like fill-in side stories of, you know, these other characters or whatever. It doesn't have to be some big trilogy thing, but they could build up to that trilogy and release those in the years that they're doing 22, 24, 26. But come on, I want 20, I want 21, I want 23, I want 25. I want it all. I'm actually someone who, like, as much as I know John doesn't like comparing the franchises, but come on, Marvel's releasing 3 movies a year. It's not hurting them. Nobody's feeling fatigue. Endgame just crushed it. I think just people need to be on board with what is happening in Star Wars before they can get on board with more Star Wars happening constantly. You need to get everybody just feeling it. Just get it right, feeling it, and then we'll bring in more movies at a time. Yeah.
I think,
but I'm bummed.
I think Matt lied because I think he's definitely listened to us before. And
I don't know how the episode that comes out on Monday, which is today, is his first time listening. How will he know?
I appreciate Matt at his word. Matt, thank you for your first time listening, first time question.
It was a good question.
Way to get your handle too, man.
Yeah.
Up next is one of my favorite people in the world, Scott Gibson at Scott
I thought you were
Gibby.
going to say John.
No. No.
Hey, Scott.
Hi, Scott. So his question was Snoke part of Palpatine's plan? Ooh, it's a Palpatine question. If so, how and what capacity, or will he always be irrelevant? We know #Shivi Babes plan was to run away with remnants of the Empire and be reborn, which is what happened. ... Is Snoke just a nice coincidence? So James, since you're like such a big Palpatine fan, I'm joking. John, what do you think?
I'm a Snoke fan. I Snoke stan.
Snoke stan. Scott, first of all, I think you listened to audio, so I just waved hello to you and you probably had no idea. So how you doing, buddy? Yeah, this is interesting. I think it's going to be one of those things that's going to be like a quiet retcon by JJ, but he's going to pretend like it was the plan the whole time. I think you don't bring Supreme Leader Snoke and have him be this menacing presence to Kylo Ren and a torturer to Kylo Ren and bring in Andy Serkis and go through all this just for him to be some kind of throwaway thing. So I think they maybe just weren't sure where the end game was with Snoke and what his overall role was going to be. I think they'll fill that in with some origin stories back in the day via a book, to the dismay of half the people from our poll results. But I think they will kind of do something where they work Palpatine in, where he kind of was a part of this whole thing from the get-go and boost what Snoke's purpose was, because a lot of people feel stale about Snoke. So I think he is from a story perspective, but from the movie making perspective, I think they're going to kind of go back TFA and sprinkle Palpatine back in there. So when we watch episode 9, go back and watch TFA, we're going to be like, oh, so that was Palpatine talking through the helmet to Kylo Ren or something like that, to make Snoke more of an impact figure. That's my take.
Nice. The next question comes from Melody Martin at Mosaic Canon. I almost lost that one.
Canyon.
Yeah, I'm glad you figured it out because I was
Canyon.
like, ooh, good luck.
Well, it's because when you read names, it's like all together. There's no spaces. So my mind goes bleh, and then what comes out is
Mos
what
Eisley.
Lacey,
I thought it was Mos Eisley again. So I was like, no, Mosaic.
Can we
What?
take a trip to Arizona and go see the Grand Canyon?
No. Next, she asks, what are the chances we will see an either Wedge Antilles or Mon Mothma in the Rise of Skywalker? James, we're going to all answer this, but I'll let you go first. James, what do you think?
Oh gosh, I don't.
Quickly.
I know it's tough. My thing is like I think yes, because I think that these characters are back on board. I don't know. Because I want it. That's why. There's no logic. I want
a great
it.
answer.
So yes.
He wants it all.
Yep.
Sean.
I think we will 100% see Wedge Antilles. I think maybe Mon Mothma, not sure. But it's going to be a crazy moment in that movie when they're bringing in all the troops for the last big war, big fight. And you see that T-65 cruise over and hovering. And who's in the cockpit? Dennis Lawson, Wedge Antilles is back. The crowd's going to go nuts, especially all the diehard people like, that's Wedge Antilles. And then we're going to understand
John, if
why
you're 60-40,
that Dennis
I'm
Lawson
the other way.
came back. What?
If you're 60-40 on those, I'm the other way. I think I'm 60 on Mon Mothma.
Really? Actually,
I think she would be more likely that they could stick her in there as like an older lady and you're like, I know who that is, rather than Wedge, like, I don't know.
I disagree, man. And I
Doesn't
think
Alex Damon love Wedge?
he's a Biggs guy. He's a big Biggs guy.
Oh,
Biggs.
yes,
That's
sorry.
the one I always
But
mess
Biggs
up.
is
Sorry,
dead,
Alex.
so but no, I think that's going to explain why Dennis Lawson came back in 2017 at Celebration and he embraced it again because they're like, we're going to pay you again. He's like, oh, okay. So I think we're going to see Wedge.
Yeah, Ian didn't leak.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I'm going to say yes to Wedge, no to Mon Mothma, because she's kind of lame. Not a big fan of hers.
Ooh, Lacey with the hot
You don't
takes.
understand Mon Mothma.
Oh, I don't understand. So I don't understand someone that just stands there.
Lacey, if you had to save one person,
that's right.
you had to save one person in the galaxy.
If you're about to say Tally or Mon Mothma.
Damn it. I was going to say Tally and Mon Mothma. I see.
The fact that
you know me
say
too well. I
this
need new
character
tricks.
just stands there underplays that character so much.
I just don't like that Mon Mothma's closet is just all that one white bed sheet, and that's all she wears. Like, come on, Mon.
I like how you guys are saying Mon Mothma and Mon Monthma.
I said Mothma.
I said Mon Mothma.
Yeah.
You guys both play the tape back. I didn't want to correct Lacey earlier, and then you just said Mon Mothma.
That's a hard thing for me to say. I don't know why. I'm having trouble saying it. Mon Mothma.
Mothma.
Anyway. Thanks, Melody, for your question. Last but not least is Neil. Love Neil.
What's up,
At
Neil?
Lowry Neil.
Lowry, probably.
Lowry Neil. I am winning tonight. He asks, hi, great podcast, great team. Thank you, Neil. He's the best, guys. What real world jobs would Rey, Finn, Poe, and Ben have? Any occupation. And by Ben, he means Ben Solo. Love it, Neil. John, I'm going to let you start because I have been prepared for this. Go ahead, John.
Poe would be a JetBlue pilot. Finn would be a school janitor. Or no, he'd be a garbage man. Rey would be a like an archaeologist. And
Archaeologist? You mean an archaeologist?
yeah.
Archimedesologist.
And Ben Solo would be in jail for murder. That's my pick.
Okay. James?
Finn is definitely a beat cop, kind of like he plays in Detroit, and I'm not pulling from that, but I actually do think he would be kind of a kind of a police officer that kind of sees the darkened side of the good that he's doing. Rey is an artist, like hipster kind of artist who's trying to get by on what she has, but she is kind of putting the blame on like society and not realizing that it's herself. You got to make yourself successful in order to be successful in that world.
Very specific.
Poe is like an event coordinator for like
Lucasfilm?
I don't want to say like what?
Just kidding.
No. Not like Greenpeace, but like some sort of like kind of boots on the ground, like we care, we travel to other countries, we hand out food, like one of those kind of humanitarian type. But he puts all that on, and he's definitely out there giving blankets to homeless people and stuff. And Ben is the son of a social media tech company. His dad owns this big major company, and he's just like spoiled, but then he somehow figures out a legal way to out his father, and he becomes the new CEO. Like, and he runs the company into the ground.
I actually appreciate all those. I like the thought that went into that.
I'm actually writing a short story about all four of those characters and how they all come together.
Excellent. Okay, I have been prepared for this. Are All right. So Poe is a head of marketing person at like a charity foundation activist place.
That's exactly what I just said.
Yep. He would be the person that would be like fighting for like gun control and stuff.
Yeah.
Rey is a full-time student that works 2 jobs. She's a barista and a mechanic part-time. And
Little
Finn,
hipster?
Finn, what did I say? What did I think Finn was going to be? I'll come back to Finn. Ben is a high-powered lawyer, but only defends bad people. And then Finn is, what was I just thinking? Oh, he's an executive assistant.
An executive assistant. Where did you come up
and
with that one?
And hates his job.
And hates his job. I guess I see where the,
So I'm the only one who took their jobs and made them earthly, from Star Wars to Earth.
I literally thought about who the person is as a character and what job they'd actually have.
I Wizard of Oz'd it. I was like, you were this.
And then Ben goes into Rey's coffee shop and she meets him.
Yeah. I was like, well, he was in sanitation, so he'd be in sanitation. Rey went for artifacts, so she'd be an archaeologist. Poe's a pilot, so he'd be a pilot. And Ben Solo murdered people, so he'd be in jail.
Love that question,
well, then
Neil.
all
Keep
of our
them
answers
coming.
would be the same thing, John.
Well, look, what are you going to do? Neil, you're the man. You're the commander of positivity. If you had a job in Star Wars, it'd be Commander Positivity, for sure.
Aw, that's so sweet. All right, guys, if you want to be on the show, make sure to follow us on Twitter at RBATSWNN and tweet us your questions with hashtag AskTheResistance, and you could be on the show. Any Star Wars questions you want. Back to you, John.
Yes, and if you guys didn't make it on the show, we do keep them, and we try to get to them as we roll along in the future. So yeah, keep them coming. Thank you guys so much. It's a good time. And thank you guys for listening. Everybody who has joined the Resistance, whether you've been with us for a while or recently. Today was a little bit of a wild episode, but that happens sometimes. It's all in the good fun of the spirit of the show. Make sure you do subscribe to us, and you could do that in a lot of ways. The main ones are YouTube, iTunes, SoundCloud, and Spotify. I believe we're also on like Stitcher and Google Play and a bunch of other places that you can find podcasts. So wherever you prefer, go check us out. And if they have a rating system, toss us the highest rating possible, please. We appreciate that.
Ooh, and if we're not there, hit us up and tell us.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
If
you see us, if you see a spot that has podcasts or a place that has podcasts and you think we should be there, let us know. Make sure you guys also head to StarWarsNewsNet.com. That's our website for all of your latest news, reviews, editorials, information, and more. Especially news is going to be heating up, so head over there every day to keep up to date on everything going on in Star Wars. What else, guys? We do have a Patreon page. So first, I do want to thank our Patreon generals. Let's see who we have here. We have Carmelo, a.k.a. a Gray Jedi, a.k.a. he runs in Jedi robes. You're going to see him on Thursday during our Patreon pod race, I believe. So stay tuned to see Mello in the middle of the episode. Brian Shalito, Don Boring, Aaron Quinton, Andrew Staley, and the young strapping lad himself, Val Trichkov. Thank you, generals, so much for your support. And thank you, everybody who has joined our Patreon page. Again, another week later, and more patrons have joined the cause. So we thank you guys all for all of your support from Tier 1 to Tier 5. If you are interested in our podcast, extra content, exclusive content, and just, straight up supporting us, head to patreon.com/resistance broadcast. Lacey runs the page for us. We have new stuff that we're posting every day, whether it's you submitting topics to be on the podcast, whether it's you guys doing poll answers to decide what we are going to do, whether it's if James pies us in the face tomorrow or in December. So you guys can decide our fates.
Or both.
Let's do both or not. And then also other things like our rumor reviews, our unboxing videos, and James running through the books and all stuff coming out. A lot of stuff every day on our Patreon page.
The Rogue One commentary is coming
That's coming up. That's our next goal, is coming up as a Rogue One commentary. So again, just go check out the page, patreon.com/resistance broadcast, and see if you like it. And if so, join the cause. All right. That is it for those types of plugs. Now we got to plug ourselves, guys. So you guys can find me on Twitter at Johnny Hoey and writing and editing over at StarWarsNewsNet.com. James, how about you?
As always on Twitter and Instagram at MyerChunks. happy Goku Day.
Dragon Ball. All right, Lacey.
Nice. People can find me on Twitter at Lacey Gillerin, where I talk about Star Wars, and you can find wonderful articles that John has written, like his trailer reveal one and his Chewie one at StarWarsNewsNet.com.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Very, very, very kind. Very sweet.
You're still the worst,
Well, that is true.
but they're good articles.
Thanks. I appreciate all of that.
Gotta bring them up, then back down.
I appreciate all of that. That's called balance of the Force. All right, guys, we are, as we told you earlier, we're going to be back on Thursday where we're going to put our tinfoil hats on and get into the speculation of what we think those 3 movies in 2022, 24, and 26 are going to be about, who's going to make them, and that sort of thing. So join us for that discussion and, of course, Will of the Force and your tweets. But until then, enjoy your weeks. Hit us up on Twitter, get involved, interact with each other. We have a great community in the Resistance Broadcast, very positive, a lot of great people. So hop over to our account, have fun, and we'll see you guys on Thursday, right here on the Resistance Broadcast. See you around, kids.
Bye.